energy and that kind of stuff into the energy unit, which is the basis for the world economy.
Well,
nothing runs without energy.
And like you say, in water too, because I mean, we both see it the same way. Crippling. There are crippling effects that are going on with the water on the West Coast. Food is going outrageously. I mean, it's skyrocketing in price.
Yep.
All these. How do you control a population with water and food? That's it.
Yep.
That's how it was done in ancient Rome, and there's a lot of similarities between the United States and ancient Roman Empire, a whole lot, and we know that's exactly what was going on at the gladiatorial, when they were having the gladiators fighting in the arenas. They were feeding the people. When they came, they were throwing out bread and cheese and wine, and they were watching the massacre of Christians in the arena under Nero.
Yeah, don't forget the garlic. The Caesars and the upper class had to have perfume handkerchiefs so they didn't have to smell the garlic breath from all those people being entertained.
Right. That's right. But it's and I think a lot of people take for granted just how ISIS believes that the United States, from everything I gather, believes that the United States is the revived Roman Empire, and they were trying to draw us into a battle at Dabiq, according to the Quran, where they will actually bring about the apocalypse by defeating the Roman Empire.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you what, Christians that are aware of what's happening, evangelicals, will, in my opinion, not be here. They'll be raptured before they have to do this for real. They may have to leave their homes and stuff for a while waiting on the rapture, but to have assets, you will have to accept the new money system, hence the number of the order system, the money system, the beast, and its leader. So Christians that are being caught in the rapture will disappear from the earth sometime around that thing beginning, that great world economy, which may start in September, October this year when the collapse starts. There will be a transition time of a few days or weeks where gold and silver, and paper money may have some trade value until the system is manifest completely across the earth.
Right.
But very quickly it will be that if you don't have a digital number, you can't buy or sell. But if you take the number, they will give you a trading value based on your assets, which they will revalue in terms of the new world currency.
Well, and all the currency that's stuck up in some mobster's closet somewhere. Think of how many millions or billions of dollars that are not in circulation right now, hoarded, that will have no value whatsoever.
I know. I tell people, look, you can have some out of the bank that might help you for a couple of weeks. Pay bills or something, and if you can pay your bills ahead, 2 or 3 months, because the paid bill will be better than having the money to pay it with.
Yeah.
And don't go overboard in gold and silver, because that will lose value. Even the scripture tells you that. You'll throw it into the street. Now, the thing that will have value is what those things, gold, silver, and currency, we're able to buy in our current economy, like food, water, medicine, ammunition if you need to hunt for food or defend yourself. All the things that normal preparatory discussions cover. Those things have more value than the abstract exchange currency. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. And actually, let's say it like this: every dollar that you spend is that much oil, right? Representative of or a note of worth according to the value of the oil.
Yeah. In essence,
as a dollar,
asset value is going to be what you have, the physical thing,
absolutely,
rather than the medium of exchange.
Yeah, that commodity will have its physical worth and not just be a worth by note. Because you understand, money is an invention of evil. As a matter of fact, I believe that the Israelites demanded a king. They wanted a king at the time of Saul when they were telling Samuel, "We want a king," because they wanted to be able to trade like everybody else was. They didn't want to trade goods. They wanted to have money so they could trade with their neighbors, be like their neighbors. So money, I don't see that money's always been a hook.
The Chinese invented the printed currency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So money is, well, we understand money being the root of all evil. That kind of makes sense. Or you can't serve God and mammon. And talking about the merchant and the merchandise, and as we look on further in Revelations, and we see all the different scriptures that talk about the merchant and the merchandise and the captains and the leaders, the world leaders being sad because Babylon has fallen and they can't sell what they've got. They can't buy, sell, or trade because that system fell. So, I think a lot of people are, I think everybody, and I'm sure you realize this too, I think everybody is just, especially in the United States, is so used to it being a certain way, they don't think that it could change overnight like it always has. It's always been an overnight change when a country falls, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's quick. You go to bed on Friday evening, and Monday morning you wake up, and it's a new world.
That's right.
And as I said, people who are not taken in the rapture that have to endure the full brunt of the Antichrist tribulation will have to go bush, and get out of the cities and travel in bands and be captured, some of them, and killed.
That's right.
They might have food and water and shelter and various things, survival good, but it's going to have to be mobile because you won't be able to keep your home even if you have clear title to it. So you'll need stuff to survive on so that you don't have to take the number.
That's right, and don't know who to trust, right?
Definitely.
Because brother turns against brother. That's the thing. That's the scary thing, isn't it, brother? Because you and I talk, and we talk, and we both love the Lord. But when push comes to shove, you really, really, really don't know anyone, do you? You know the Lord,
and how they will react. It's like people that say, "Oh, I'll make a good soldier," I'll kill the enemy and all that kind of stuff, but they'll be the first ones usually that hide in the foxhole and say, I ain't getting out, this is too frightening.
That's right.
You don't know until you get into that situation how you're going to really function.
Well, usually those people that brag like that are the ones who really don't mean it anyway. It's the quiet man. He's the one that's going to be the hero. Isn't that true? Usually it's the quiet, the real soft-spoken, the humble person that's going to step up and take the bullet for someone. That's how I've always seen it in the past. The surprise hero is not the big high school jock. It's the nerdy guy that jumped out and saved the baby in traffic.
I think back to Sgt York, the true story of him as a Christian soldier and him being a very humble and God-fearing man, how he became a hero in World War I just doing what he had to save his men.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Just a very average, quiet, good old guy. With no aspirations to be a hero or anything else, just did what was needed at the time, and he took his own life at risk to do that.
Well, I had John Baptist on with me just a couple of nights ago. It was a really good broadcast, and a lot of people got a lot of good information from it. But as we were talking about the war, the coming World War, and he was referring back to World War II, and how with the atomic bomb at the end of World War II, and Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and what was going on with the Holocaust and what Hitler's regime was all about, and how they were moving towards that world Aryan order. And then I brought up, if you look back even past it to World War I and the genocide of the Armenian and Syrian and Greek Christians up in the millions by the Ottoman Empire, it just stands to reasons that if we see in World War I that there was 3 separate groups of Christians that were being persecuted, and in World War II we see the Jewish people being persecuted, doesn't it stand to reason in World War III it'll be the Christians and the Jews that are persecuted?
Yeah.
I mean, by just logically it seems like that, doesn't it? Yeah,
it does. And I know that a lot of Christian believers mean well, but myself included, but we don't know who or what number will be included as part of the bride in the rapture.
Right.
Those that aren't will have to face the issues we're talking about.
Yeah, somebody's got to be the bridemaids, right? Somebody's got to be the bridesmaids.
That's possible, yeah. But you'd think the bridesmaids would go with the bride. But anyway.
Well, you got the wise bride. You got the wise bridesmaids, and then you've got the foolish ones. The foolish ones are going to be. They're not going to be inside. They're going to be outside where the groom is. So they're going to have to bear something. You know, as we look in the Book of Solomon, there's two brides there. One of them is taken care of by the soldiers, and the other one is pretty much beaten because she's out looking for her husband also. But there's two different brides mentioned in the Song of Solomon, and I think there's a reason for that because there are going to be people that are going to go through a lot of stuff. They still got a chance at salvation, but they're going to go through a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and I put a link to this article about the Pope getting together with the Russian Orthodox, kind of, I guess, church, Catholic church, but it's really not. It's like supposed to be Protestant, but this Pope is trying to get the Russian, quote unquote, air quote, Christian church to join back with the Vatican, with the Roman Catholic Church.
Yeah, he wants that one world church. Amen. That's exactly what he wants.
And to that, also Shimon Peres, former Prime Minister of Israel, has met with this Pope, trying to agree with him and help to set up a one-world religion. I mean, that just astounded me.
We see Chris Lemon, and I posted over on my Facebook page last week that there was the, I guess it was multi-faith girls choir that sang for the Pope, and they were singing Hallelujah chorus in three different languages, in English or singing in the Christian version, and then singing a Jewish version, and then singing a Muslim version. And I'm thinking, something's wrong here.
Oh, yeah, no kidding.
Something's very wrong here. And we see it, don't we, brother? We see a statue of Satan now, a big monument to Satan in Detroit. I mean, this is going on in Oklahoma City with them taking the Ten Commandments down, and they're still trying to put up that image of Baphomet there. And, at some point, the church is either going to have to stand up or shut up, aren't they?
Yeah, I know. It's going to be hard.
There's a lot of
which university it was. We've heard about it in the news. It might be on our homepage. I'm not sure. I think Holly put it up there. About was it Cornell? I think is setting up a training facility there, a course to train ISIS members on how to overthrow America. I think, but
well, I mean, the United States weaponized ISIS. You may as well say that. All the weapons they're using are the ones we left out of Iraq after the Desert Wars. And then, was it 500 million that got turned over in Yemen just a few months ago that the Pentagon lost? I mean, we're not talking about just a few guns. We're talking about tanks, and anti-aircraft artillery, Humvees, helicopters, all kinds of things.
What an interesting way to give them stuff just by leaving it behind, because
that's what's happening. Now, we did the same thing by weaponizing. Aren't we weaponizing the same people that we were fighting against a decade ago? We're weaponizing them in Syria and giving them training on how to use it, just like we did in Iraq, just like we did in Afghanistan. It just seems to me that the United States right now is supplying weapons to everybody that's in the fight. I mean, what a perfect delivery system. Start a war, get it over with quick, and just leave it all there.
Yeah. That's just a clever way, of course, to give weapons to who you want to have them.
That's right.
Satan is clever, and his minions here are certainly doing his bidding accurately. It was a dean at Cornell University, and they did a sting on him with the guy posing to be a Moroccan student and a freedom fighter for ISIS, and the dean says ISIS is welcome on campus, and that they would help set up a course for him. I mean, that's just, with that kind of nonsense, plus what's in the White House, we are in deep, deep trouble.
Well, that's the thing about it. A lot of people don't even know what we have in the White House. Of course, I'm sure what we've got in the White House, but because it just, when you see a man who bows to a Saudi king, right? He bows to a Saudi king. That tells me a lot there, a whole lot. When a man who wears an Islamic ring. I noticed in his the presidential first debate's going to be going on tonight, like it really even matters. Really?
Yeah, they're starting it right now.
Yeah, because you know what I've noticed is you've got Donald Trump standing right up, just like you had Ross Perot stand up back in 91, 92, the same time that Clinton and Bush were fighting each other for the presidency. Here comes Perot, who is a very successful businessman with some weird ideas, and now we're seeing the very same thing happen in this cycle this year with Donald Trump entering into the fray.
I don't know whether